Perfect. Okay. I'm going to share my screen. Get started. Share screen.
So I probably should be here where I can see it.
Yeah, it'll help if you can see it just because I have a whole presentation.
Yeah, let me I might come in on my computer.
Okay. I can wait for you too. If you're going to change devices, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm going on it now. Can
you see my screen, Marco?
Yes.
Thank you. Admit. Perfect. Admit one guest. Did I admit the guest?
Yeah, it's not me, so.
Who did I deny the guest? I do, yes. Great. Hi, Ava. All right. Are you good, Mindy?
Yeah, I'm coming in right now on my.
Perfect. Okay. You said you can see my screen, Marco? Sorry. Okay, thanks. All right. So I will get started. So the topic for today for Coffee and Recruiting is Recruiting Basics Simplified. So my plan is to give just an overview of everything that you would need to know as if you know nothing about the recruiting process for volleyball. I'm going to cover the basics and we will go from there. I'll ask questions periodically throughout the presentation, and then at the end, there'll be time for a Q&A as well. Okay, so topics. So recruiting basics simplified. First, I have a 1-question pop quiz. It is really just one question, I promise. We're going to talk about what coaches look for when they're recruiting athletes. We will talk about University Athlete as well as recruiting software that is on the market that you can use. Importance of email, importance of highlight film, live play, being proactive in your recruiting journey, and the changing landscape of collegiate athletics and how that applies to athletes today. Okay, first, I'm gonna make sure no one's waiting to be admitted. Okay, we're good. Okay, first, a little bit about who we are. I know some people know, but I'm Amanda. My husband is Marco. So I'm the founder and owner of Volleyball Academy, which started out as like a training academy where we had teams. And it's also Volleyball Recruiting Services where we help kids get recruited to play in college. We are both currently directors at Texas Tornadoes Volleyball Club after moving, well, in the process of moving from Atlanta, Georgia, where we were both coaches there and directors as well. So our background, for myself and for Marco, we have an extensive background in college athletics as players and as coaches. So I played Division I at Gardner-Webb University. Marco is a professional player in Europe in many different countries. We both are former Division I coaches and recruiting coordinators full-time. And I have coached high school in different parts of the country, Texas, Georgia, and Louisiana. Marco and I have both coached club for a number of years, more than 15. We've both coached college. Marco has professional coaching experience with national teams, and we work with athletes of all ages, all the way from 5 up to 18, and even older than 18 for some kids that play internationally. So what we offer currently, mainly me, but Marco also supports, is we offer one-on-one recruiting support. So we offer support to athletes that want a guided journey throughout the recruiting process. And we keep that number fairly small so that we can devote all of our time to those athletes that we work with. So that's one option. That's one option that we offer. We have a lot of free resources like this event, Coffee and Recruiting, which will be every Sunday. This is our first one. We also post a lot of free content online on Instagram and sometimes on our website as well. The plan also is to come up with and create a recruiting course so that if athletes, if we're maxed out on athletes that we work with one-on-one, parents and athletes, they can still, go through a virtual course and walk through different steps and things on how to get recruited to play in college. The goal is to have that ready by the end of 2026. So that is what we currently offer. Let me make sure no one's waiting one more time. Good. Okay. Okay. So pop quiz. How do college coaches recruit? I only have 2 people on the call. Okay. Right now. So Ava or Mindy, do you know the answer to this question? This is the only time I'll be interactive. I promise. I know sometimes that's annoying. There's 2 main ways.
They attend some of the national qualifiers. Is that one way?
Yes. Yeah. This is a really tricky question. I didn't mean for it to be so tricky. I feel like you would only maybe know the answer like if you were a college coach, which is what makes it tricky. You are correct. Like, I'm looking for a different answer, but you're not wrong. Oh, Ava said something. What'd you say, Ava? Receiving emails from recruits. You're also on the right track. My answer is really specific. I know you both are correct. I'm just going to tell you because it's kind of I didn't mean for it to be so tricky, but it's a little tricky. Okay. So before anything else, college coaches recruit based on graduation year and by position. So before they even watch you at a qualifier, before they respond to an email, they need to know these 2 things. So if I'm looking for in the year 2020 and I'm looking for a setter, right? I'm going to focus all my efforts on just looking at setters when I go and recruit and when I'm looking at my emails. If I don't need any middles anymore, I've already recruited my middles for that year. I'm not going to go watch them play. I already have my middles. And if a middle emails me, I can tell them, hey, I'm done with my middles for your year, and that's okay. So 2 crucial things to understand is when college coaches go to recruit, they're recruiting by graduation year and position. Okay. Sure, there are other things after that are important too that we'll talk about a little bit later, but that is the beginning. That's the start. Okay. Kind of tricky question. Okay. So what do schools look for? Once they have established the position and their graduation year, this is what they're looking for. So they're looking for skill and overall cultural fit. Okay, so a skill match. Coaches are asking themselves, can this player play at the level at which I coach in my conference? Okay, and that's going to look different depending on the school we're talking about. So if we're talking about Nebraska, they have a very high standard for skills that they're looking for their players, obviously. That's a very good program, one of the top in the country. If we're talking about A&M Corpus Christi, that's still Division I, but they're not as good as Nebraska. So their players that they're recruiting, they're looking for a certain skill set as well, not as high as Nebraska's skills, as an example. And even further along down the line, like a JUCO, for example. So same idea, right? They're asking themselves, can this player play at the level of people that I have in my conference, or can they compete with the best players in the conference as well? Because that's how you become good at the college level. You have to recruit kids that are better than your actual athletes, And they're also asking, are their skills on par with what I need to win? Maybe a new coach came in and they inherited a team from the previous coach, right? So they're looking to bring in better players perhaps, right? So maybe what is on the team right now isn't great in what they need to win. They're looking for players a little bit better than that, right? So once they have position and graduation year, they're looking for skill, okay? Once they know your skill matches with where they can play at their level, then they're asking themselves, do you have a good attitude? Are your parents a headache? Are you going to fit into my coaching style, right? Do you like to work hard? Are you competitive? So all of those things are really, really important and what college coaches look at. And I like to say all the time, like when you're at a qualifier and you have college coaches stopping by, it's important that you have good integrity and good character all the time, right? And it's important that you're doing things like you're being watched, right? So I always tell my players, don't have mom and dad bring your water bottle, right? You as a player need to go get your own water, fill it up when you have a break and put it back on the bench. Because like as a college coach, I didn't like to see that. I was like, if you can't get your own water bottle, that's a problem, right? You got to know when to fill it up, things like that. So small things like that, sometimes coaches look for, that might be a really like minuscule example, but they're looking at how you interact when you're not playing, when you're on the bench, if you're cheering, just different things like that. That's really, really important because there's so many kids in the gym and coaches will not waste their time on you if you have even just for a second a bad attitude when you get subbed out. There's just too many kids for them to waste their time on that. Okay. And I always want to point out, because sometimes players and parents don't realize this, is that college coaches do not care about the score of the game they're watching. They do not care who's winning. They do not care who's losing. They don't care what club you play for. Okay. They don't care about that. The parents care. They think it's a big deal. They think maybe the college coach cares. They don't. Okay. They're there to evaluate you and your talent. They're looking at how you're doing, how you're interacting with your parents, with your team, with your coach, how you interact how you respond when you make a mistake. So that's what they're there to evaluate. They don't care about the score or the game that you're actually playing. Okay. So really important. I put right here, this is the single most important thing that you can do to help yourself get recruited is to understand university athlete. It is the first thing I always talk about with every single player I work with in recruiting. That's because university athlete is the software that college coaches use when they go recruiting you live at tournaments. So when they're all on their phone, they're not just scrolling Instagram or online on some app, right? So they're on university athlete because they can see every single player that's in the gym, but they can only see that if you as the athlete have claimed your free profile and you have your information in there. Okay. So we'll pretend I'm an athlete and I don't know about university athlete, but I'm on a club team that travels all over and we're at a major qualifier. I've never been told this. I don't know about UA. Okay. So a coach wants to recruit me. They stop by my court. They say, oh, she can fit with the skill level that I'm looking for. And they go to look me up because they can look you up by your name, by your club name, by the court. So they have those metrics in there. So if they go to look me up, but my name is not associated with my club team, they can't find me. Okay. So you lose out on huge opportunities if you are not a university athlete. And it is 100% of college coaches use this app. Okay. I see a lot of the time online where parents ask, like in volleyball mom groups, they ask something like, should I be using university athlete or sports recruits, right? It is not an either or situation. It is, you are using university athlete no matter what, period, full stop. And then if you want to use some kind of recruiting software on top of that to help you send out your emails, that's great. But no matter what, we have to use UA. If you're not using it, you can't get recruited live, which is like a really, really, really big deal. Okay. So now talking a little bit about recruiting softwares for you as the athlete to help your life be easier, right? So university athlete is for the coaches. Okay. We also have this recruiting software that can help you get recruited that makes your life easier. Okay. So we have field level recruiting database that helps you as the athlete send emails, and college coaches can contact you through there. It's a great option for smaller schools and it's high school based. So it's based off of your actual high school. Your high school coach can claim a profile and then the college coaches can message your high school coach. Okay. Productive Recruit and Sports Recruits. These are both examples of softwares that help you as the athlete streamline your process because you can send emails really quickly to college coaches. Basically, that's what it is. They also have part of their software where they can market it to whole clubs. So a lot of kids in their club, they know about Sports Recruits because that's a recruiting software that the club has purchased for all of their athletes in the club. Almost every major club uses Sports Recruits. That's why you know about it. But again, it's not, you use that in place of university athlete. Okay. Okay. So a little bit more about university athlete. Recently, university athlete has launched a side where you can use it as a software to streamline your communication with college coaches as well. So college coaches are using this software to recruit, but you can also have a version that makes your job easier by sending out emails really quickly. They have email templates. You can search college camps through the app really well. So I suggest this is the only thing that you need in terms of recruiting and helping your life be easier, right? So no matter what, you have to claim your free profile because that's how college coaches find you, and you have to make sure it's up to date every single club season. But then there's a paid version that either your club, if they choose to go this route, they can pay for it for you and you send emails through there, or you can pay for it yourself. Okay, so that's actually what I suggest to athletes that I work with. Things that you need to update every single year, no matter what, is what club team you're currently playing for, your name. If you have a nickname, that's important too. You need to put that in there as well. Your jersey number, graduation year, position, and your contact information. Again, if these things are not in university athlete, that coach cannot find you when they see you live. And they won't waste their time to go Google you or try to find you on Instagram. It's just, they don't have time for that. Okay. So for my people that are on right now, do we have any questions so far? Mindy or Ava?
No.
No. Okay. Perfect. And we will keep rocking and rolling. Okay. So email is the main way that college coaches recruit. Okay. That's why these recruiting softwares exist that I just talked about, is because recruiting for volleyball is very email heavy. And back when I played, what you had to do was you had to Google each individual school. You would Google the volleyball program, you would find the coach online, you would copy and paste their email into your email, and then you would send them the email. It takes a very long time, right? So companies have come up with an easier way to do all that. That's why sports recruits, university athletes, news side, productive recruit, they all exist, like to help you as the athlete streamline your communication. Okay. So email is that's how college coaches communicate with you. Okay. So really important is in the subject line. You always want to put, no matter what, your name, grad year, position, your GPA if it's good. Because we talked about at the beginning in the pop quiz is coaches recruit by graduation year and position. So if you email a coach, they know within the first 5 seconds if they can even recruit you based on your grad year, position, and GPA. Okay. And they also know if they can't recruit you anymore. That can tell, they can email you back saying, hey, thanks so much. I'm done with middles for your year. That way you know. Okay. So that's super, super important. Emails need to be short and sweet. Long emails do not get read. Long emails don't get responses, and they don't watch your video that way either. Both Coach Marco and I can attest to the fact that when you're a college coach, you're getting so many emails each day from student athletes. And if you have a very long email, unfortunately, it gets deleted. Okay. College coaches just don't have the time to sift through all of that and try to find and look and see where you attached your highlights and what grad year you are. They just delete it and keep it moving, unfortunately. Okay. And in emails, every time we want to attach our highlights, because that's the first look that a college coach gets at you to see if you can even play at their level. Okay. And then we have highlight film. So very important that you have highlight film that you make. And some things to think about when you're making your highlight film. You need a beginning slide with your information, name, grad year, position, GPA. It should not be very long, no more than 2 minutes. I suggest 1:30 up to 2 minutes. And it should be grouped by skill specific to your position. Okay. First 10 seconds are very crucial, because if a coach likes the first 10 seconds, they're going to keep watching. If they don't like the first 10 seconds, they won't keep watching. Okay. You can I suggest update your highlights after each club tournament, because you get better progressively throughout the season. And then as you're finishing up your club season, at the end, you want to make one main highlight from the whole year. That is like your highlight that you can send to coaches. Okay. Huddle is a great tool for this. Almost every club in the country has. It's very, someone's joining. Hold on. Oh, admit one guest. Admit. Okay. Perfect. Hi, Debbie. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Hi, you're welcome. Okay. We're on highlight film, just FYI. And okay, so for highlight film, okay, I was talking about Huddle. So almost every major club in the country and even smaller clubs, they have access to Huddle. And if you don't know this, it is very, very easy to make your own highlights in Huddle. It's very user-friendly. If you literally just Google on YouTube how to make a highlight volleyball Huddle reel, it shows you, and it's less than 2 minutes long. So there's so many easy, good resources out there for you if you don't know how to make one. So that's the easiest way. If you don't have a highlight video, if you don't know what to do, and your team does have Huddle, that you use Huddle, okay, to make this highlight video. You can do all of this in Huddle, and once you know how to do it, it will take you less than an hour as an athlete, okay? I also suggest once you get kind of comfortable with making those highlights in Huddle, that you use YouTube as well. I've asked a few college coaches that I know, it's like, hey, how do you prefer to watch your film? And they both said, we'll watch it however we can. We watch it via Huddle. We watch it via YouTube. YouTube is a little bit nicer because there's no ads, right? Huddle, you have to, as a college coach, to view it, you have to watch one ad and then you view the video, which the coach will still do. But I always say first is like, get comfortable with Huddle, make some highlights through there, post it, right? When you go to email coaches, attach that in your email, and then you can make highlights on YouTube as well. You can upload those Huddle highlights to YouTube too. Okay, so I put an example right here because film is specific by position. So I put an example right here. So if you're a setter and you're making highlight film, it should have these things in it, right? So if I'm a setter, I want to showcase all of my sets, okay? I want to show off my high sets to the outside, high sets to the right side, my middle sets, my quicks, my ones, my threes, my C's behind, and my fast sets to the outside and fast sets to the right side. I want to showcase my dumps, my defense, my serving. Maybe I made some crazy saves. Maybe I had a really good few bump sets, right, to the outside and right side on an out of system ball, okay? So you want to put all of these together, okay, by the actual skill. So if I'm a setter, again, I'll have 5 to 7 good clips of my high sets, 5 to 7 good clips of my right side sets, maybe 3 or 4 ones to the middle. So we're grouping them by skill and we're putting them in order so the coach can see it. Oh, she's setting fours. Oh, now she's doing defense. Oh, now she's starting, so that it makes sense and it's not all over the place, right? So all skills are grouped together, and 5 to 7 clips per skill will get you a video that's around 2 minutes long. It might be where you have to maybe cut some clips down to make it about 2 minutes long, but you really want it to be not super, super long because the college coach won't watch it. I suggest to kids too, like you don't want, so if you're a hitter, as an example, I'm an outside hitter, right? You don't want just a 2-minute video of you like hitting fours the whole entire time from the outside. You want to show some variety as well. You want to show some blocking. You want to show hitting fours, maybe hitting shoots. You want to show serve receive as an outside. You want to show your defense, right? So we want to, again, showcase every single skill that you do in that position in your highlight video. I talk about this all the time because I see this on Instagram a lot. So if your team gets the point, but you execute a skill poorly, don't post that. Okay. The biggest example I think of is, a player, she gets a note. So let me explain that better. So the other team is serving, right? They're serving the ball. The libero on the team that I'm talking about, she passes the ball, but it's an overpass, but that ball falls and her team gets the point and they all celebrate. Like that's not, yes, your team got the point, but that's not a good example of anything to show because you actually had an overpass, which is a bad pass, So you really want to only limit it to you executing good skills on the court, regardless of the outcome. Who cares if the setter set the ball good if you had a good pass? That's not what we're worried about. Who cares if they dunked the ball if you had a good hit? So we're focusing on your skill, if it was a good execution of skill or not if your team got the point, right? This happens a lot on Instagram. You see, oh my gosh, the team got the point, but the skill was like a bad skill. So I try to tell kids not to do that. Live play. Okay. So coaches evaluate you live. They evaluate you from seeing your highlights. Okay. College coaches really want to see you play live. So in an ideal situation, right? You email a college coach, you email them a good email, like we talked about, short and sweet, great subject line. Your highlights are right there. And you're like, hey coach, I'm going to be at Big South. Come watch me play. Here's my highlights. They watch your highlight video. They're recruiting your position in that graduation year. They will try to come watch you play if they're already going to be recruiting. So say if that coach is going to be at Big South, they will come watch you play if you fit that criteria for their position in graduation year. So the goal is to try to see you play live. Coaches can see so much when they're watching you in person. It's important. So that's why I tell kids, it's important if you really want to be competitive and play in college, that your club is aligning with those goals. Okay. So playing club competitively is how you do this. I know it's a big problem that club is really expensive and that it's harder for kids that don't play club to play in college. It's a big problem in the sport. That's a fact. We're not here to talk about that, unfortunately. We could talk about that for a long time on a different day. But playing club competitively is how you get to play in college. So being on a competitive club team that travels to qualifiers, very important, because college coaches, they're not recruiting at local tournaments. Maybe like a local tournament in Georgia that's, a big tournament for the state. there will not be a lot of college coaches there. So we want to make sure that if you want to play in college, you're going to major qualifiers to get recruited, that you're on a team that's competitive, and that you're getting high level coaching to try to improve your skills as well. Okay. Being proactive. I tell every kid I work with them before I work with them one-on-one, I tell them that recruiting will work for you if you put in the work. Okay. So you have to get yourself recruited by putting in the work yourself. And that means making your own highlights after tournaments, updating them periodically through the season, spending time emailing college coaches. Yes, software exists to make your life easier, but it doesn't matter if you don't actually use it, right? And then working on your skills. Being a gym rat is one of the easiest and best ways to help yourself get recruited if you are improving your individual skills outside of your team play. Okay. And again, I always tell my kids I work with one-on-one, it can't be mom and dad doing it for you. So the recipe for success is a really proactive athlete that's doing these things on their own, along with parent support. Doesn't mean parents can't help along the way. I had a kid I work with, she had 5 tournaments back to back, 5 weekends in a row. So we made a plan, and I was like, you know what? She's also a very high achieving student, has a really high GPA, AP classes. So I told them, I was like, these 2 out of the 5 weekends that she has tournaments, these 2 are really important recruiting weekends. I'm sure you guys as parents will need to help her send out emails. Just make sure that between the 3 of you, 2 parents and her, that you guys are doing that. And that's okay. That's normal. It just has to come from the student athlete to be proactive themselves, because if you want it, you've got to put in the work. There's no amount of paying for a service or trying to optimize your journey that will get you out of putting in the work. Okay. Okay. So collegiate athletics has gone through a lot of changes ever since COVID. And honestly, it does make it harder for kids that are in high school trying to play into college, going to college to play. Right now, it's set up more for athletes that transfer to get the opportunities first. And then it's more secondary for high school kids. And that's just for a few reasons. You know, we have the transfer portal now after the NCAA, after COVID. You know, they took away the penalty for transferring. So as you guys probably know, you can transfer for no reason, really. You could go to 4 different schools all 4 years if you wanted to, no questions asked. So because of that, coaches are opting to pick up players first that are in the transfer portal that already have that college experience before they're picking up kids from high school. That's just a fact. That also makes it harder for certain positions to get recruited. Middles have an easier time because middles are pretty rare. So to pick up a good middle is like hallelujah. DS liberos, it's much harder for DS liberos because, one, there's so many of them, and there's a lot of them already in college because it's just a position that so many kids like to play, especially when it comes to height as well. Okay. NIL deals have also like thrown things off and shaped the way that college athletics goes. You can make money now playing, which I think is a great thing. That's really not impacting like mid-tier schools, even lower level division ones. We're not talking about like serious money at that level. At the big schools, you are. They're making good money and a lot of money and have a lot of brand deals and sponsorships, right? So that is a factor, but it's not a factor for most athletes. Even at some Division I levels, it's not a huge factor in NIL. There's a new NCAA rule coming down the pipeline that will change things too. So the rule is when you turn 19, you have 5 consecutive years to play 5 seasons. So instead of just getting 4 years of eligibility, everybody will get 5 no matter what. And it will take away the red shirt rule as well. So that also can impact high school kids getting recruited. It'll be a little bit harder, in my opinion. So doesn't mean it's impossible. It just means, like, again, going back to this slide right here, if you want to play in college, you have to be proactive and you have to be very self-aware that, okay, if I'm a libero or DS, it's going to be harder for me, but that's okay. I'm going to really put in the work and target schools that are a good fit for me and that I believe and I know that I can play at. And I'm going to target those schools really hard, right? Okay. So this is like my getting started checklist that I like to share with kids that I work with that maybe have no clue about where to start. Okay. And we talked about most of these things already, but I always just like to go through this as well. Okay. So this is just a checklist starting with university athlete. And we discussed this at the beginning. So it's asking for UA. UA stands for university athlete. So I have a UA account and it's up to date. That is number one most important thing you can do for yourself. And then I know how to use UA to look up coaches attending each qualifier. Okay. There's a function in UA where if you're going to Big South, for example, 2 weeks before Big South, you can start seeing what coaches are signed up to be there. That way you can target your outreach and reach out to those schools, telling them you're going to be there as well. Okay. Film. I have highlight film showcasing all of my skills per position, less than 2 minutes long. YouTube account. I have a YouTube account showcasing, my best skills. And then once I am more comfortable with that, I have a full unedited match film as well of a game that I played really well in. Okay. I don't put a lot of emphasis on social media. I know it's really popular and it seems like it's really important because social media is almost like real life now to have a social media volleyball specific account. But I will tell you that has no bearing in helping you get recruited. Okay. So the way coaches use social media is if they've already seen you play live and you're on their list of recruits and they really like you, they will then go to your social media to stalk you, to see if, you have good integrity, to maybe watch a few more of your skills and your highlights that you posted, right? So they're using that once they already really know you and like you. They are not finding you willy-nilly on Instagram. That is 100% a fact, okay? Instagram is there once they already have seen you play live. They've seen your highlight film. They're actively recruiting you. Then they'll go look you up. That's very normal, but it's not by any means the first ticket to help you get recruited, okay? So I put here, I have a volleyball specific social media account that complements my recruiting journey, but I don't rely on it to get me recruited. And that's the key. It's meant to complement your journey, but we don't want to rely on that, okay? And then taking ownership, this was a big part of what I talked about. I put in the work myself. I have a basic knowledge of NCAA divisions, timelines, and rules. The NCAA does a great job of putting all of this online. There's a guide to getting recruited as a student athlete. Like all their information is online for you to look at, okay? It's pretty user-friendly as well. I have an idea of what kind of college experience I'm looking for that fits who I am as a person. Very important. Kids I work with, I make them come up with a list of 90 schools that they can see themselves attending. And I really think this right here is one of the biggest things you can do to help yourself get recruited, is understanding what you want, if that aligns with who you are, what you want to major in, what kind of college experience you're looking for, and then contacting a ton of schools, whether they're in that list, whether they're not, whether they have one thing that you're looking for, right? So you taking ownership and really thinking about what you want in a college experience, making a list of schools and contacting those schools is really, really important, okay? Contacting coaches. I know that email is the primary way coaches recruit, regardless of the software that I use, right? Sports recruits we talked about, productive recruit, university athlete. Those are all tools to help make your life easier in sending those emails. But email is how college coaches communicate with you, okay? I know how to word the subject line in my emails and to send out a good email. We talked about that a little bit briefly as well. You always want to put name, graduation year, and position. If you have a good GPA, also good to put that as well. And I know when to send those emails to coaches, whether it's to express interest, to follow up, or to send new film, okay? I have the kids I work with during qualifier season start sending those emails to schools that are going to be at the qualifiers that they're at so that that coach can come watch them play, okay? That's another piece to it as well. Okay. Whew. Talked for a long time. Do we have any questions? This is a really small group, which that's great. Small, big, medium, doesn't matter. So because it's so small, you can ask me. We got time. You can ask me questions. So does anybody have any questions?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
So I've heard about like NCSA. Is that?
Yep.
Is that another source to utilize? Because we got to call. I have 3 kids in volleyball, but we have, um, but the one that actually interested to play collegiate is one of them, and she's 14.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm just trying to see, like, are they a reliable source to use? So how does that work? I know nothing about them, by the way.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So everything that I say because it's just my opinion and my views, you know. Some people might disagree, but most people that are in the coaching world in volleyball and that like know a lot, they tend to agree with the sentiment. So you as a parent, this is my opinion, right? You don't need to spend money on the NCSA because it's so much money. And that's because one, I believe they charge $5,000 or something like that. And what they do is like they automate everything for you. So they send the emails for you. They help you make the film. They have their own software that they use. So they're a huge, huge, huge company. IMG bought out. I don't know if you know IMG. It's a big company as well. So they're a huge company that they will target kids that play volleyball, whether they play club, no matter what team they're on. And I always tell kids I don't suggest using them because one of the reasons is the college coach themselves, when they're recruiting your daughter, they want to hear from her. So what the NCSA does, they're like a middleman sending that information to coaches, and it comes from their email database, not from your daughter, you know. So what we hear time and time again, and for me as a college coach, is when you get those emails through the NCSA, a lot of the time you don't look at them, or like you're not as interested in them because it's coming from a company instead of from your kid. You know, there are other things that you can do to help your daughter get recruited. You know, people like me that offer recruiting services exist. I think it's better to go with like the smaller, more personal approach, just because an example is I had a kid when I was coaching high school in Houston, and this kid was a libero. She was not going to play volleyball in college. She didn't play club. Didn't play club. So the NCSA will cold call you because they have lists of girls that play volleyball in America. They'll cold call you as young as 5th grade, you know. And she got a cold call and she asked me what I thought. Should I spend the money? I think it seems like a great opportunity. I told her no. I was like, are you planning on playing in college? I don't think so, maybe. I was like, well, it's going to be a waste of money. Well, her mom paid the money and she didn't even end up playing in college. So I think my opinion is it's a waste of money. And to an extent, I think it's predatory. That might sound extreme. But just from the knowledge that I have in the industry, I don't think it's worth paying a ton of money for someone else to do the work that your daughter could do with the right guidance, is my opinion.
I didn't realize that were that's crazy. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good to know.
Yeah.
And also, I'm sorry, like
No, it's okay.
she's 14, and first it was like for fun, but now, I still ask them every year. I was like, "Do you still want to play college? What about now? What about?"
Mhm.
And it hasn't changed. So I
Okay.
was like, "Oh my gosh, I know nothing about this." And so from what I heard, you start approaching coaches from freshman year. So you may already explain this. Sorry, I missed it, but
It's okay.
I think that sounds about right. Although they can't really contact you till June 16th of their sophomore.
Yeah. So a good time to start is freshman year.
Okay.
So when I work with athletes one-on-one, I typically work with sophomores and up, but sometimes I have a few freshmen. Any division other than D1, D2, D3, JUCO, NAIA, they can contact your daughter at any age. So as an example, if she's a sophomore or a freshman and she goes to a major qualifier and a D2 coach likes her, they can call her on the phone, they can email her. It's just those Division 1 schools cannot contact you until June 15th going into your junior year. So, if she's interested in playing, she might get some D2, D3 interest freshman, sophomore year, and they can contact her. It's just you won't know if she really has intense D1 interest until that summer of her junior year.
So that's another question that I have. When you said it's a good info, like list 90 university, because we really want to emphasize on her major. and volleyball is her passion, but still, we put the major in first. And so how do you decide, whether she's like, oh, she's a D1 or D2, or is it like height based? Is it more like, how do you decide which college that it's right for her?
Yeah, a lot of it is depending on the athlete themselves, So I'll give you examples of kids that I work with. So I have kids that I work with that, from my personal professional opinion, they're D1 kids because they have really good skills. Their skill level is like a big thing we look at. And sure, their height based on position. But also maybe they have a really good GPA and they want to major in something really specific. So for like a kid like that, if she really knows what she wants to do academically and she has a very, very good GPA, as an example, I have a kid who scored crazy high on the pre-SAT, which means she could get into Harvard and all these amazing schools, right? So for a kid like that, we're looking at schools that fit her academic interests where she can also play volleyball realistically, if that makes sense. And it's very specific for each athlete. What one athlete's looking for might be completely different for what the other athlete's looking for. But kind of to your point with how do you know what level that she's at? What I do when I work with kids, I give them my professional opinion. I watch some videos, I watch skills, I watch clips, and I tell you, hey, I think your kid is a Division I player at this level, Division I. Or I say, hey, you know what? They're not a D1 player. That's fine. We're looking at D2s, D3s, so on and so forth. So the step is like getting evaluated from a coach that you trust. And again, just like the NCSA, there are companies that will charge you $2,000 to evaluate your kid. I'm not joking.
Oh my God.
Joking about this. So when you go to major qualifiers, you'll see booths set up. We'll evaluate you. We'll tell you where we think she can play. $1,500. It's crazy. So all you need is a coach that you really trust that has experience, that's played in college, right? That's coached in college. We don't want some coach that doesn't know, maybe like giving you their opinion. A coach you really trust, they can tell you, hey, I think she can play at this level.
Okay.
Yeah.
My question is, for a shorter outside hitter, what's the realistic of playing in college at all?
Yeah. This is my opinion. I think that this might sound like kind of strange, but like I believe that there's a school for almost everybody that wants to play. So if she's an outside hitter and she's shorter, is she looking at a big D1 school? No. Is she maybe looking at D2s? No. But that doesn't mean she's not going to play somewhere. Maybe that's D3, maybe that's JUCO. And if that aligns with what she's looking for, then that's great. If that doesn't align with what she's looking for, that's fine. Then maybe she doesn't play in college, But as an outside that's shorter, it doesn't mean you're not going to play. It just means that you might not play at certain levels, and that's fine.
Okay, as long, with a high GPA and stuff, then that's more advantageous for her.
For sure. The better an athlete's GPA is, the more doors it opens for them. Because if GPA is high, then they're looking at D2s, D3s, which is a really good fit for kids that have those high GPAs. Yeah. Awesome. Well, those were good questions. Do we have any more?
I have quite a few, but I might actually see you. She plays for Tornadoes, so.
I'm about to ask you, Debbie, at what coach you play for. Yeah, I'll see you. Are you coming to the meet and greet on June 2nd?
We're gonna be out of the country, but she will be there. That's why I was wanting to do this Zoom to kind of, because I have a lot of questions on recruiting. I just want to be more, I've been reading a lot about it, and I do have kids in clubs also that I learning as I go, kind of thing. But I want to know from the expert herself.
Okay. Well, then you're fine because I'll see you in person. I was thinking you might have been virtual, or I didn't think you were in Houston. Yeah. So no, yeah, we'll have some time to chat, and you can email me too, Debbie, because I have a Tornadoes email. I'll put it in the chat.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's Amanda. Yeah. Do we have any other questions before I adjourn?
No, but we're gonna miss you.
No, I'm gonna miss you guys too. Thanks for joining, Mindy. I'm glad you guys could join. Just because I'm not in Atlanta anymore doesn't mean we're not gonna, chat.
Yeah. She was really upset she didn't get to see you before you left.
I know. I know.
We
I'm
had a
sorry.
tournament that weekend, so.
I know. I'll see you on the road though. We come to Big South and everything, so we'll see each other again for sure.
Okay, that's
Mhm.
good.
Awesome. One last call for questions, and then that's it.
Well, I appreciate it. I'll share this information with Ashley.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Mindy. Okay. Well, that is it. Thank you guys so much for the questions and for just being online. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Awesome. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye-bye. Ava, are you there? Ava? Okay. I'm stop recording now. Okay.